Hello everyone, Andy Schwab here with your Farm and Ranch News. This week was a busy week for several producers and industry leaders as the Public Lands Council and the National Cattlemen's Beef Association held their annual DC Fly-In and Legislative Conference. One of those members that made the trip to was Montana Stockgrowers Association Governmental Affairs Specialist Ellie Brighton. She told me the main message they aim to deliver to the NCBA is that something they've been hearing from their producer profitability listening sessions.
Through producer profitability, obviously a lot of our conversation has been around estate tax, the death tax, the desire for a repeal, a complete repeal if possible, but if not, keeping it at the level that it's at so it doesn't revert to the low levels of 5 million or 1 million, keeping it at I think 26 is where it's at right now. So that has been definitely our focal point in our conversations, prioritizing that over other things, then talking into government programs a little bit, what are the issues and how can we address them kind of in a general sense. Have been stock growers' main points.
Now, speaking of Montana stock growers, they recently submitted their comments to the BLM's proposed carbon sequestration project in Carter County. MSGA said they oppose the project that would encompass over 100,000 acres of land south of Ekalaka, where 15 deep wells would be drilled and injected with CO2, storing carbon from the Denbury Cedar Creek anticline pipeline. MSGA raised concerns that the various pipelines, roads, injection wells, and office buildings would would disrupt grazing, wildlife habitat, and could harm the water quality. MSGA closed their comments by critiquing the agency's scoping and decision-making processes throughout the course of this project and is calling for a halt to the project plans, citing the productivity of the land and the economic and environmental purposes. Well, we need to take a break, but we'll be back in a little bit to look over a new finalized rule from the BLM.
I represent a lot of what ranchers' wives are, where they marry into the family. Coming into established ranch, the expectations of that is just absolutely overwhelming. You know, there's always stress with all families, but when you're not dealing with the stress outwardly, it will definitely impact everyone inwardly. You might feel alone, but you're not alone.
Welcome back, friends, to your Ag News and your markets. The Department of Interior announced their final public lands rule yesterday that drew criticism, from congressional leaders. DOI says the final public lands provides tools to the BLM to help improve the health and resilience of public lands in the face of changing climate, conserve important wildlife habitat and intact landscapes, facilitate responsible development, and better recognize unique cultural and natural resources on public lands. Now, the rule did draw criticism from congressional leaders and industry leaders. U.S. Senator John Barrasso of Wyoming said the rule will block access to federal lands and suburbs, of the multi-use requirement under the Federal Land Policy Management Act. He added that he and Senator John Hoeven in North Dakota will introduce a Congressional Review Act resolution to repeal the outrageous rule, which can be read on our website, northernag.net. And cash cattle markets were able to take their time to establish any trends yesterday as feedlots and packers pulled in the opposite directions. Those struggles came as the increasing futures board, while the box beef continued to slip a little bit lower. For local auction, prices continue to drive higher and heifer demand doing fairly well as well. As you can see, the instances did find some of the heifers only 10 to 20 cents back from their steer mates. Sadly, sheep prices in Sioux Falls were unable to hold on to the gains they saw last week and actually retracted the prices to the previous test. Now, U.S. wheat prices remain stuck in that sideways trading range after the USDA reported China canceled another 4.5 million bushels of previous wheat purchases on Thursday. Despite those headwinds, spring wheat and winter wheat surged higher by a nickel on Thursday. Well, there's a look at your ag markets and news. I'm Andy Schwab. Have a great rest of your day.